All right, hello there. Welcome to the channel. My name is James, and here at 20th and 21st Movies, we are about all things cinema. Today, I want to share my thoughts on a recent release from the Criterion Collection on 4K Ultra HD. This is a film that has been out for just over 30 years. It came out in 1993. It is a film from Chinese director Chen Kaige. It is spine number 1228, and it enters the Criterion Collection in the month of July during this 50% off Criterion sale at Barnes & Noble is Farewell My Concubine. This is the 1993 film from director Chen Kaige, the critically acclaimed film. It is a film that I'm glad that I've had a chance to see. I saw it for the first time with this new edition from Criterion. So in this video, I'm going to share with you what I think about this edition from Criterion that's now out on 4K Ultra HD, spine 1228. Also available on Blu-ray. So I'm going to share with you what I think about this film, what I think about the 4K picture and visuals. This is a 4K release, so it's always nice to see these titles come out on 4K. So I'll share with you what I think about the visuals, the supplements, and whether or not this is a title that you ought to consider picking up. Is Farewell My Concubine worth adding to your shopping cart in the next 50% off sale? Let's talk about it. This is my first film and first foray into Chen Kaige's cinema, and it is definitely an impressive film. This is, if there's one thing I can say about Farewell My Concubine, it is a film that is masterfully produced and presented. It is a beautiful realization of this world, and this world specifically is early 20th century China. It's basically China in the early 20th century over a span of about 50 years. Some very important history during a very tumultuous period in this land's history that I know very little about. I just barely scratched the surface of it. And that is one of the beautiful things about watching a title like this is you get exposure to that history. And so that's a reason why, that's one of the reasons of many that I love Criterion Collection releases, is that it exposes you to different filmmakers, different directors, films that speak about what is going on in different areas of the world and just give you exposure to some history that you might not have known about. So this type of film definitely inspires me to explore more of that history because, like I said, I barely scratched the surface of it. But now I'm interested in exploring it a little bit more and reading more about it. But this is director Chen Kaige. This is the film winner, Best Film, Cannes Film Festival 1993. So this film won the Palme d'Or at the 1993 Cannes Film Festival. And that is notable because this is the first Chinese film to win the Palme d'Or award. Farewell My Concubine by director Chen Kaige is the very first Chinese film to win this award. So a very prestigious award at the Cannes Film Festival in 1993, and Farewell My Concubine and director Chen Kaige took that award home. Of course, this is my first film in his filmography. I have not seen any of his other films. So I definitely want to hear in the comments section what you all think of Chen Kaige's films and what titles from his filmography would you recommend. These are some of his other notable titles, and I definitely want to see all of these when I get an opportunity. Of course, this here is The Promise. You have, I'm trying to remember the name of the film here in the middle. I'll have to put that in. I'll have to put the name at the bottom here, but I'll put it in there. And then you have The Emperor and the Assassin. So you have these three films by Chen Kaige. So that's some more from his filmography. He's made many other films, but these are some of his more notable films. And of course, Farewell My Concubine is largely considered to be Chen Kaige's magnum opus, if you would. So this film is an epic film. This film comes in at 171 minutes. And I actually surprised myself because I actually watched this film in one evening. I was thinking I was going to have to break this up into a couple of nights. I ended up watching the whole thing in one evening, which really surprised me for a film of this length coming in just under 3 hours. This film is epic in scope, it's epic in its time period, and just the beautiful scale that is presented in this period piece. It shows us 50 years of 20th century Chinese history from the early Republic of China to the Cultural Revolution. And this is a film that I think has parallels, I believe, to this film right here by Bernardo Bertolucci called The Last Emperor. I think the history that Farewell My Concubine covers in 20th century China is a similar period to what's being covered here in terms of the last emperor of China up through like the 1960s. So these two films seem to cover the same period. So I'm very much inspired. I've never seen this film. I've had this film in my collection for years. And The Last Emperor is now about to get a 4K Ultra HD release pretty soon, either in September or October. So I definitely want to check this out and see if this is a film I want to upgrade. But I've heard great things about this film. This film actually won Best Picture. So I need to get on that. But this is Farewell My Concubine that we're talking about today. And it covers 50 plus years of 20th century Chinese history. You see the picture on the left are two of these friends who meet early in life. But of course, the two main subjects are going to be pictured on the following page. This is a film that covers the life of two friends who meet as little boys and basically are friends for over 50 years. And they perform together in a stage play called Farewell My Concubine. And there's a lot that goes on in their lives in terms of their relationship with one another as friends, one wanting it to be more than that, the other not so much. And the introduction of one of the friends' wives into the mix, creating a bit of a triangle. So these are the two friends for life. You have Shun Deyi and Duan Zhaolo. So you have Deyi and Zhaolo that are friends that meet at a young age in a orphanage, if you would, and they're trained at a young age. They get into the arts and they begin to perform together in this play. So let me read the back of this case. It says a breathtakingly intimate romance unfolds against a sweeping backdrop of social upheaval in renowned director Chen Kaige's sumptuous saga of passion, fate, and the transcendent possibilities of art. Spanning 50 years of 20th century Chinese history, Farewell My Concubine follows aspiring actors Chen Di, a heartbreaking Leslie Chung, and Duan Zhaolu, played by Zhang Fengyi, as they emerge from a childhood of brutal training to become Beijing opera stars with life-mirroring art as Dei's unrequited love for Zhaolo and the country's changing political tides engulf them in their own personal tragedies of jealousy and betrayal. The first Chinese film to win the Palme d'Or is epic filmmaking of the highest order, visually and emotionally ravishing from frame to exquisite frame. And that is a great way to describe it because this film is absolutely impeccably shot. It is a beautiful looking film, beautiful period piece. And I think that Chen Kaige and the cinematographer did a great job of bringing this world to life, as well as the production designers, the art designers. They did a beautiful job of building out this world and making you believe that you're actually in this 20th century period of Chinese history from the, shall we say, the 1920s or 1910s up to the 1960s. Just absolutely phenomenal filmmaking. Of course, Chen Kaige himself he's known as being a pivotal figure in the fifth generation of Chinese filmmakers, which is a movement that's known for bold storytelling and innovative visual style, and that is exemplified with Farewell My Concubine. So Farewell My Concubine is his magnum opus, and his direction of this film combines the historical grandeur of the period with deep emotional resonance. I mean, this film is incredibly, deeply emotional. And I would dare say, if there's one word that I could describe this film with by the time I got finished watching this film, the one word that I'm left with to describe this film and my experience of seeing it is devastation. This film is devastating from an emotional standpoint. I was impacted deeply by seeing this all the way through. This is a narrative that spans 5 decades of Chinese history, from the warlord era to the Cultural Revolution, and his ability to weave personal tragedy with national upheaval. So you have the personal story of these young boys in the midst of this grand idea of what is going on in China at the time. Those things are going hand in hand together. And his way of presenting these two young boys' lives in the scope of the history of what's going on in China is just a beautiful work. And he has established himself as a significant voice in world cinema with this amazing film. So let me see here. Let me add back to the stage two friends for life. You have Deyi and Zhaolu, two young boys. Of course, they grow up. They're performing in this play, this historical stage play that started in 1918, the Farewell My Concubine. One of them gets married. So you have Chung. So you have Leslie Chung, who is pictured on the right. He plays Chen Kaige. He plays the female figure in this play. And then you have Fengyi Zhang as Duan Zhaolo. He's on the left, and he is the one that finds a wife and gets married to Gong Li's character, Zhuxian. So this forms a bit of a triangle, because De Yi has feelings for Zhaolo. He wants a more than a friendship and a partnership. Zhaolo does not want that. Zhaolu marries Zhuxian. So that creates some tension and a triangle that is a big part of the narrative of Farewell My Concubine. The unrequited love that Dai feels for Zhaolo, and Zhaolo being married to Zhuxian and having his own issues and his own levels of ability to commit and truly, truly love someone. That's part of the central conflict of this incredible film in the scope of this grand history of China. This film, Farewell My Concubine, is based upon, in part, the traditional Chinese opera from 1918. So you see these two characters, these two friends in character, in costume here, in makeup, as they're performing this opera. And of course, they say it's the hegemon king bids his lady farewell. That's the Farewell My Concubine play. It's a traditional Chinese opera that began in 1918. And it is an incredible opera. And these two actors do a great job of realizing it on screen. This picture here is, when I say I'm left devastated, the look on in her face at this moment in this film, I will not spoil it, but it is a look that I will never forget. This is a film that I don't know how many times I will revisit it. I will probably revisit it only a few more times, because of just how devastated I felt at the end of this film and seeing the look on her face at this moment. It is definitely something you will not forget. And it really exemplifies the power of this film and what these characters are about and what they truly mean to each other, and the links that people will go through in given moments and the effect that that will have on other people. I won't spoil it, but let's just say that it is really something to see. So I absolutely enjoyed this film. This is a film that does have a long runtime, and I'm not going to sit here and say that you don't feel the runtime. I definitely felt the runtime. I'm not sure where I would necessarily make any cuts to this film. Probably wouldn't make any, but it is a bit of a commitment to watch all the way through it in one sitting. So it's definitely a film that I can recommend based on the quality of the film. It is a high quality production, an absolutely, epic story, beautifully realized world. It is a picture of history, seeing this history of China, including figures such as Mao Zedong during this period of time, and just seeing that 50-year history and seeing that through the lens of the lives of these two young boys who grow up to be men, and seeing the conflicts that go on in their lives and the relationships that they have with others and between themselves, and where that ultimately leads. And the highs and the lows and the devastation of all of it is beautifully realized in this film. It's a beautiful film, and I can definitely recommend it. Now, in terms of how does this picture look on 4K? This is a new 4K digital restoration of the original director's cut with 5.1 DTS HD master audio. Now, let me read in here about the master, because we see here in the little fold out, there's a section here about the master. So let's read it. It says, Farewell My Concubine is presented in the original aspect ratio of 1.85 to 1, undertaken by Thomson Films at Hiventy in France. This new 4K restoration was created from the 35mm original camera negative with the 35mm release print used for color reference. The 5.1 surround soundtrack was remastered at Hiventy. So this is a 4K master from the original camera negative and a 4K restoration from the original 35mm camera negative. And it is a nice looking 4K. It is clean. The image looks absolutely clean and clear. Everything has been beautifully cleaned up. The grain levels are perfectly, presented. It is a beautiful 4K presentation. The only knock that I would have on this, if it is much of a knock, is I wish that HDR had been included, because you'll notice here that there is no Dolby Vision, there is no HDR. So this is a 4K presentation in standard dynamic range. So you're not getting the benefit of HDR, which I think one of the benefits that would have lent in this film is just given the beautiful colors that this film includes. I think it would have given these colors a little bit more vibrancy and a little bit more punch. But having said that, I think the picture overall is very strong. It's beautifully clean, beautifully restored, and is just wonderfully detailed. Again, there's really nothing to complain about this picture. It is a beautiful looking 4K image. Is it the best I've ever seen? No, but it is a very strong 4K picture. I just think that it would have benefited from a color standpoint with that high dynamic range, bringing out a little bit more vibrancy in those colors. I think that would have given it a little bit more punch. But as it stands, it is a beautiful looking picture. The sound is also very, very strong with that 5.1 surround master audio, that DTS HD master audio. Sounds fantastic. So I think from a presentation standpoint, Farewell My Concubine looks and sounds terrific. Would have been nice to get some kind of HDR, but overall, it is a very winning presentation. As far as the special features, there's not a lot of features on here, but there are some pretty nice features on here. You do have a very nice conversation with Michael Berry, who is a Chinese cultural studies scholar, who has a nice conversation with Janet Yang that's very good. You have the 2003 documentary on the making of this film. That is very nice. It's kind of cool seeing the scenes in this documentary format that you just saw in the film, the finished version of the scene, but actually seeing it as it was sort of originally shot in some cases. But yeah, you had that documentary from 2003 on the making of the film. And then you have an interview from 93, around the time when this film came out, with director Chen Kaige, conducted by journalist Charlie Rose. There's a trailer on here. And of course, you have a very nice essay that goes into some of the historical aspects around which this film is about, by Pauline Chen, called All the World's a Stage. So definitely recommend giving this essay a read. It is excellent, by Pauline Chen. And this insert is also very, very nice. Of course, you see, Gong Li over here. Her character, you see all three of the characters here. Just beautiful, 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 beautiful. This film is very rich. It's a very rich film. It is beautifully realized. It's a fantastic period piece. It is a very powerful and engrossing story, and it is beautifully presented on 4K Ultra HD in this edition from the Criterion Collection. You do have some supplements. It is not a packed edition from a supplement standpoint, but the supplements do give you a little bit more information and context on this film, and you do have a very nice essay by Pauline Chen. So this is a definite strong recommendation for the next 50% off sale. I definitely want to see, and I want to hear in the comments section what you all think about, would these two make for a nice double feature? I do plan to watch this one very soon. This is The Last Emperor. This comes in at 165 minutes. So it is about 6 minutes shorter than this film here. So I definitely look forward to seeing The Last Emperor and sort of kind of comparing notes in terms of how they portray this period in the 20th century. But yeah, let me know in the comments section below. What do you think about Farewell My Concubine? Have you seen it? If so, what do you think about this film? What are some other films from director Chen Kaige that you would recommend? And what are some of the other titles from the 50% off sale at Barnes & Noble that you have been watching from the Criterion Collection? Let me know all that goodness in the comments section below. And as always, thanks for watching, and we look forward to seeing you next time at the movies. Peace.